Okay. Mr. Speaker, my name is Jonathan J. Paul. I'm an entrepreneur from Houston, Texas. Yesterday, President Obama gave one of those 2 + 2 = 563 speeches. He argued about fundamental fairness in the United States without talking about the obstacle to fundamental fairness, which is the teachers' union. What would you do to narrow the education gap between wealthy and poor kids who are trapped in a system that's failing them and failing us as a country?
No, you've raised a good point. Sometime in the near future, I'm going to give a speech on inequality from a couple of angles. One is, I believe in leveling up by giving everybody a chance to be more successful. He believes in leveling down. I believe in wealth creation. He believes in wealth redistribution. I believe the primary problem with the very poor is that they're trapped in government institutions that destroy their future. He believes the problem is we haven't sent them big enough checks while keeping them trapped. I mean, the really fundamental, this is why I want to have the debates next year. I think the difference will be so vivid and so clear to most Americans that it's really important. And I want to, because I'm about to get the hook here, I want to take 1 minute, though, to talk about a recent example of this. I believe that it's really important for children to learn to work. How many of you earned some money before you were 15? Okay. I was with a fairly wealthy young lady 2 days ago who could clearly be living on her trust, and her grandfather paid her to run errands. And I said, how old were you when this started? She said 5. Now, why am I saying this? The other day I said, you know, and this goes way back to an article that was written some 20 years ago by Joe Klein, I think it was in New York Magazine. If you look at the price of New York City school janitors, who are paid more than the teachers, the entry-level janitor is paid twice as much as an entry-level teacher because of the unions. My model would be to have a janitor and an assistant janitor who are full-grown adults and know what they're doing, and then to take the rest of the money and hire lots of kids part-time. And you could hire them part-time to be a clerk in the front office. You could hire them part-time to work in the library. You could hire them part-time to help in the kitchen. There are lots of things you can do. But what I want to do, these are in the very poorest neighborhoods where kids are in public housing surrounded by people who have no experience of working. The reaction on the left has been hysterical. I mean, it's exactly what happened to Moynihan, which is why I was grateful for the reference. When Moynihan used common sense 30 years ago, and the left went crazy, because you go at the very heart of their belief system. If the problem is that we need to have people learn the culture of work and learn the culture of saving and learn the idea of value over time, you just made this country dramatically more conservative. And so the left goes nuts at the idea that you're actually going to let young kids learn. Last example, Jack Kemp and I used to argue for equity in public housing. We said people in public housing who don't suffer from a severe mental or physical problem should have a responsibility to help take care of their apartment. And if they take care of it well enough over time, they could gradually build up a sweat equity. And you could even imagine over 5 or 10 or 15 years they could actually acquire ownership. We had this one great debate, and Barney Frank got up and he said, do you realize if you allowed poor people in New York City to actually own their apartments, that these apartments could be sold for several $1 million and they wouldn't be poor anymore? I'm for an America where there are no more poor because they all had a chance to rise. Thank you all very much.
Great job. Congratulations.